Hello, hello, hello. You're listening to the Liverpool Improvisation Festival interviews. I'm joined now by Absolute Onions. Hello, everyone.
Woo!
This is the biggest interview we've done so far. We've got 4 people on the line. Do you want to start off just by introducing yourselves?
I'm Anthony. Hello, I'm James.
Oh yeah, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Jen.
All right. And the way we start off all these interviews is before we even hear about what's your show, I want to hear from each of you who your own improv ancestors are, the people who taught you improv or who influenced the improv that you do, so that we kind of see what you're bringing to this festival in terms of your history.
I'll start off because I learnt with comedy sports, so it's even short. We do short form, even though we're doing a long form show. Narrative wise, I learned a lot of narrative from someone called Katie Bateson, based in Lancaster, who is We Are Improv, is their school. So yeah, that's where my narrative has come from.
Wonderful. Who's next?
Then I followed on from the comedy sports. I went to Improv Quo, which was an offshoot from that. So that was my first introduction to improv about, maybe 10 years ago now.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
Oh yeah, me next.
Yeah.
I think I'm boringly similar to you, James. I think first started doing it properly with the Improv Quo and in Edgeo Sigways little room there in that pub in Salford, which was always good fun. But then, like, in terms of like actually teaching it again, I'm going to keep it very boring in house. It's probably Anthony. Most of our like long form and narrative stuff. And I sometimes think he's basically like my personal trainer of improv. So yeah, thanks a lot, Anthony.
Oh, that's nice.
And we're not that diverse in terms of the backgrounds that we've come up through here. Because for me, I did an improv course with Improv Quo and came up through that. But that's actually how we formed really as well. We were all part of the house troupe for Improv Quo and decided that we wanted to do something long form together as a group. So in terms of the inspiration, it comes from all of you, but Anthony's the seed at the start of that, I think, for us, for sure. And when I was also starting as well, when I was doing that course, I went to see a show by Murder Inc., which I think also formed out of comedy sports too, just to keep that things quite local. And that was a big inspiration for me to want to carry on and to do something more long form rather than short form particularly.
I love that all of you are coming from the same place. Does that mean that you've all been playing together for a long time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
How long?
Sorry, I think we first started playing together in 2017 as part of Improv Quo. But when did Onions actually form? Anthony, I feel like you know this.
We gave ourselves the name Absolute Onions in March 2019, so 7 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was our first show together that one maybe just before COVID in that one pub? Do you remember?
No, it was a whole year before that.
Was there? Christ, sorry.
Yeah.
I just remember that show's been particularly bad, actually, so maybe a good one for me. Yeah.
Well, to transfer from that, I want to hear about the wonderful show that you're bringing to the Liverpool Improvisation Festival this year.
We're doing Improv Island Discs, which is a show that's sort of evolved out of improv karaoke. So it's basically let's take a song suggested by the audience, and we put them all into a playlist, pick one with a standard cheer off, and then perform a story to explain the true meaning behind that song.
Wow, I've got a bunch of questions right away. What is improv karaoke?
Jen.
Should I take that one?
Yeah.
Improv karaoke was our first show that we've run for quite a few years with Absolute Onions, which was largely inspired by me being very overly enthusiastic about karaoke and trying to get us to shoehorn that into anything that we did. So the idea behind that was we got the audience to share their favorite karaoke songs with us, and then we put that in a playlist. We pick that, and then we'd all sing together, because I really believe in the power of playing together and singing together and being joyous and making a fool of ourselves together. And then we would investigate long form wise what that song was actually about, so use that as our suggestion and as our inspiration. But what we have found is that karaoke, not everybody shares my total love of karaoke, shock horror. So James had a really brilliant idea, inspired by the Radio 4 program, the Desert Island Discs, and bringing in different types of songs as well, because we found that we were actually getting some of the same songs being suggested. And although we can take a different slant on that story each time, it's nicer when it's an original song. It's one we've not had before. So by making it the song that you would take to listen on the desert island isn't necessarily the same as your karaoke song. So that's varied up the playlist for us. And James, you missed out the very exciting part as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with the Desert Island Discs podcast or the Desert Island Discs radio show, but every person that they have, are imaginary castaway on this island. They have their music that they can take with them, but they also get to take a luxury item with them as well of their choosing. So we asked the audience what their luxury item would be. We put that all into a bucket, and at some point in the story, that item will be the pivotal thing that we need to solve or save the day. And actually, sometimes it really works, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it comes out as a blind line, and you just read it there, and then we have to justify it, and then sort of factor it into the story to end it.
So what was the last example? I think it was chili oil.
Chili oil, yeah.
Somehow had to tie everything together, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we were talking about food at the time, so it worked.
Brilliant. And what kind of stories are you telling? Is it a story of like literally based on the lyrics of the song or what the song meant to the person, or how does the story part of it weave in?
So then we get everyone to sing the song, so pull the lyrics up, and we have a bit. So it's still got a karaoke theme to it. It's not necessarily easy, because if they're not go-to karaoke songs, they're not necessarily very easy to sing. But we'll give it our best shot, and whatever the lyrics sort of inspire. So it can be just like a feeling, or maybe it inspires a genre. Maybe there's a clear story there already, and then that can be fun just acting it out. And sometimes you start off somewhere and it goes off on a tangent. So, and then you're coming back and sort of saying, "Who knew that that's what that song's about?" Well, it's.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be very literal. Like the last show we had Pink Pony Club, and it was set in the Pink Pony Club, so very, very literal. But sometimes it can be more just a feeling, and it sets off a genre. So we had Rolling in the Deep by Adele, which sounded like a sea shanty, so it turned into like a pirate adventure. So yeah, it can be a mix of literal things and then kind of just the feelings that we get from things.
Wow. Okay. So you really have to be ready for absolutely anything depending on what comes in.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I think
No.
No, I think the first show we had to do was Aphex Twin, wasn't it? Were there any lyrics? Was it "Come to Daddy"? So
the lyrics are "I want your soul." I need your soul.
Yeah, they still managed to spin. But you have to roll with those kind of suggestions as well sometimes.
Okay, so you've already mentioned how this went from the idea of karaoke into the show, but I'm curious about how you then went about, once you had the idea for the show, practicing the show or creating the show from that idea.
Well, we would start with. We rehearse a couple of times a month, and I think rather than going over the show, we're sort of following a sort of story spine structure. And yeah, just practicing different aspects of that. So we're practicing our beginnings, our middles and ends, and then to elaborate on it, I suppose we've covered things like genre and character and how we build into that. And so I suppose we focused mainly on like training elements, and then you start to piece those together. I don't think we ever do a rehearsal where we practice a show though. So we wouldn't do an actual song and a story in a rehearsal. So we've always focused on just like, well, what skills do we think we could do to improve this time? What haven't we looked at for a while? And then just keep coming back to that same idea of the of investigating a song and its true meaning.
I think it's always evolving, really. So we've sort of struck a format that we quite like, and was gone from karaoke, and now it's the Improv Island Discs. But yeah, like James said, we rehearse really regularly, and I think that even though we've been together for so long, that's still really important to us to keep getting together to do that, to play. And we take something from each show each time and think, okay, would I like to do something different with that? Or a lot of us teach as well, and so we practice our teaching on one another, and we are learning more, I think, still as we go along about what each other likes and how we can stretch what we can do. So it always evolves each time. I think if you saw our first show and you saw our last one, not just because there's many years apart and more practice, but there's probably more difference in the style than we realise because it happens incrementally.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think the biggest changes have been? Because 7 years is a long time to be doing a show.
I mean, for me,
from 7 years ago.
Yeah, for me, probably the difference is endings, because I know when you're doing narrative, I know we teach narrative as well, and our students always find endings the hardest, and endings are always the hardest with narrative, I think. And I think that's one of the things we have got better at. We know how to end the show. We kind of have got those skills now, and it's actually easier than you think. But I think
no, it's not.
No, you're trying to sell it.
Yeah. It's really, really difficult. Yeah.
Well, only we can show you how. Can show you. Yeah. But I think over the years we've kind of found a kind of a methodology in the way that we kind of work through, and yeah, for me, endings, and that's when the audiences kind of, I think, really enjoy a show, and you can really kind of land the ending, and that's kind of very satisfying as well as an improviser.
Is there a secret to endings that you're willing to share, or is it more of just a spend time doing it?
Lots of listening to what's gone on before. Listen, and react to that rather than writing your own ending is pretty much. I think, yeah, in the past, I'll admit, I'd sort of stood at the side, kind of going, "Oh, what could happen next?" And I was like, well, it doesn't really matter what could happen next. I can't come up with the answer. We have to go and discover it. So I think it's trust the improv to work as a process.
Yeah, I'd agree, James. It's that thing of, having that idea in your head that you think will be good, and you think, yeah, this will be really great, and then you try and shoehorn it into a scene, and you realise, no, that's just fallen absolutely flat. So I think in a way, kind of experiences of having done that over the years, you kind of build to knowing, okay, let's just go with where the river's going, you know.
I'm curious then for each of you, what has been like what's your biggest joy that you get out of the show? Because we talked about what was difficult of these endings. I want to hear what is the most fun or the easiest part of the show.
I'll go first. Then.
Okay.
It's working with these guys.
It is though. It's true. They're an absolute pleasure to have fun with and work with. We feel like we can, because we've been performing together as a group for so long. Sometimes it just feels like you read one another's minds a little bit, and but we still enjoy it. We still enjoy it. So it's we're doing something right there. So yeah, working with these guys is easily the most joyous part of it.
Cheers, man. Cheers, James.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's something that you actually mentioned earlier on is the fact that it can still go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that moment of like we're choosing the song and and then maybe we're starting the show and we still don't know after all these years, we've no idea what's going to happen. And that to me is still like a fresh excitement. Even though we've been doing the show for so long and we've been improvising for so long, we can still just get surprises and new things can happen. And that's what I really like.
Yeah, I'm probably going to echo something similar to what James said. I think I just feel so comfortable and happy like performing with this particular group. I like it, and it's fun because I feel like there's a very good balance that it's nice to be a part of. Where in a show maybe 1 month I might be slightly more prominent, but then in the next month there might be other performers, and even when that's the case, you can kind of take a step off the side and you're just like sort of admiring the work on stage and think, oh yeah, it's just good fun to see, and then also to kind of play off when you come into a scene. So yeah, just that very much satisfaction. And to be honest, just like when we're in rehearsals, I have so much fun there. Doesn't matter if there's an audience there or not. I would happily just be doing those things that we're doing. The fact that there's an audience there, it's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, I feel like it's like we've got a script and we have to say the same things, but which is very un-improv, isn't it? But yeah, for me, I think it really is. I value so much, and I get so much joy out of feeling so safe with this group, and safe to be really silly, because we are really silly. And in any rehearsal, I'm generally crying, laughing within a couple of minutes. And probably just because we've been making a weird noise for like 2 minutes, and that's all it takes. I think we've got a real good mix of natural styles that complement each other quite well, but we, as the years have gone on as well, I think we're supporting each other to expand those styles and step into the different roles. And I think Patrick touched on something there which really has brought joy in a few shows recently, where we're not all trying to force an idea, and none of us are trying to force ourselves to have some stage time. So there's been there was points, I think it was in our Christmas show, where I was playing Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus in conversation, quite a heated, sexy conversation together. And it would have been so easy for Patrick to have come on and taken one of those roles, but he let me have both of them and enjoy the flow that was going there. And I really appreciated that, and it was great fun. So I think that I get joy from the generosity of the group as well, which is just really nice. And then for a less sort of lovey-dovey answer on that, I get joy that I just get to pull weird faces and make weird shapes, and everyone's okay with that.
Those are brilliant ways to get joy. Based on what you're saying, I think I might change my next question a little bit. Because you were talking about things you appreciated from other people. I was going to ask what's special about the way that you improvise. But I think it would be fun, because you know each other so well and been playing for so long, to hear what's special about the way that each other improvise. Mm-hmm. If that's okay. If you can think in your head a little bit about, maybe you could either go in a circle or you could say one for each of the three of you. But I'd love to hear some special things that you love about playing with each other.
Do you want me to start? So
yeah.
James is very good at sort of gameplay and maybe game over the course of the show as well. So kind of bringing things back, callbacks, and that balance. I think a really good game that you used to play quite a lot is Annoying Me, and just finding ways of irritating me throughout the show, which is always fun. Patrick's very good at kind of crazy characters. But you can play low status very well, low status kind of characters as well. And just good to have that energy. There's just a lot of energy about kind of Patrick's improv, which is because I'm quite a slow improviser, and Patrick's kind of probably the opposite. So, I think the team needs those different dynamics, and then I think Jen actually can bounce around and do whatever the show needs. I think, and that's what I like about Jen's improv style, that she can do crazy, funny faces, but can be slow if that's what the scene needs. And it's just very much about, kind of a generosity of the fact that she will do whatever the show needs, not necessarily what she wants to do. I feel like just matching, whatever's happening, and that's a really good skill.
Brilliant.
I always think of you as a great opening batsman, if I'm giving a sporting analogy to which I know not a lot about.
I love it, James.
But no, you're sort of like a great start, because I think you always manage to ground scenes quite well and stop them. You stop it accelerating away too quickly, and keep it in control, and that's really nice, especially when you're starting out as well. But there's always a lot of justification from you as well, and a lot of explanation about why things have to be that way. So even when the situations get odd, you can sort of ground it with some you legitimize the oddest of things. And then Jen, I think one of the shows we did recently, I think you encouraged me to do something I don't really do, which is to take on an inanimate object as a persona. And I would have never played a kettle if it hadn't been for you playing part of a travel toilet in a camper van. I came into that scene thinking that I was going to be the owner at a campsite, but no, it turned out I was one of the inanimate objects in a camper van. We had to work out what we were, and that was different, and that brought things to life in a way that I wouldn't have thought of that. So just coming on and creating that was just nice idea of discovery. So I think you think outside the box. And Patrick, for me, it's been said about characterization. Not only are you able to come up with great characters, but when we do some role swapping, if you take on someone else's character, I think you're very good at mimicking what has come before, and also almost challenging yourself and saying, yeah, I can be that character, and coming on and doing that. So I enjoy that.
Oh, stealing intellectual property, basically.
Yeah, but you do it very well.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's really nice, James. Thank you. God, yeah, this is a bit of a loving, but yeah, no, it's good. So I guess I go. So I'll start. I'll just think about Jen, just on a slightly different. I think some of the word play and puns you come up with, like off the cuff, I can be just generally so sharp and funny. You'll say something, and I'll kind of like think, oh God, I wish I was that smart and funny. That's brilliant. You know, that kind of almost that is good. You know, I just watch from the sidelines, and also I just always quite like I'm going to say it's quite lateral interpretation of scenes, like kind of like something what James said. Like, yeah, we had a scene about a caravan and a couple in a camper van, and you decided to bring in these animated kettles and toilets that were all personified themselves. It kind of brought a level of like magic to the whole show, rather than just a couple in a caravan arguing at the weekend. It really kind of, brought a bit of a life to it. Anthony, I always think you're the guy. I know James mentioned kind of being a good opening batsman, which, I love thinking of you as Alistair Cook. But I think you're also really good at tying everything together at the end. And in particular, I don't know if it's because you've got your, good knowledge of music anyway, but your ability to tie an ending in with the kind of song and the theme of the song. And I think when we say we've got better endings, I still think, probably about 70% of that is because of Anthony being able to come in and kind of tie it all together. And then with James, I think me and you are quite similar. And it means that it can just be some of the most fun you'll have on stages with you, because you can just bring a surreal energy that I really like, and it can lead to kind of just chaos. And I think sometimes you just need a bit of chaos. So yeah, oh man, good to confess.
My turn. Okay. This is where I lost you all now. Yeah. Let me tell you why these guys suck. No. Plot twist. No.
I hate this group.
Yeah, but this is a pitch for please let me leave. I just wanted you them to say the nice stuff so someone else will take me on their troop. No, so Patrick, I'll start with you because you were just talking. It's similar to what people have said before. Like you naturally go so big and crazy, whether that's actually a big high status or a low status thing. It's extreme generally as a natural thing, and what you are really good at, and what I've seen you grow in over the years as well, actually, is to harness that in a way that's actually really supportive for the rest of the group and really helpful for the story and just hilarious, because it with a talent like yours and a nature to do that, you could just go and steal the show and run and try and hog all of those scenes, but you don't do that. You somehow manage to create these really wacky, huge characters that are in service of other characters as well and work really well together. That's like such a genius formula. I don't know how you do it, but I watch it and I'm like, wow. And then I'm generally laughing and then I'm also trying to interact with that character in some way. So, and also for you, and this goes for all of you, everyone seems to have an incredible intricate knowledge of so many things that they can bring in from the real world that you bring in, and it's really, really funny, and it makes the scenes funnier because you're very specific. You can be really specific about things in a way that I often feel I don't as much, so I just rely on whatever you've said. Generally some 90s footballer with Patrick, but it could be something. He's referenced Robbie Williams videos before as well, so he's got range. For James, I think that you're so fun to play with, but you're also really fun to just watch go and do your own thing as well. You are the king of the solo scene. You can do it really, really well. But you again, you don't hog that. You allow other people into that, and anything you do in a solo scene is in service of everything else that's going on, which is great. I always feel really safe with you as well. I feel like you can tell if I'm floundering or something, or that you're really up for discovering something with me at the same time. Like, yeah, I did start a scene as a toilet, and you could have reacted that in any sort of way, but you were like, okay, sure, I'm a kettle then in that case. And yeah, it's always they're wacky, but again, it's brought together really nicely. And Anthony, you're the absolute king of being grounded and making it real, but in that reality, there's so much silliness, and I think that it's a great showcase to anybody that wants to see that, or anybody that I challenge anyone to think that the everyday is boring, because in one of our shows recently, Anthony was just darning some socks at the start of it, and that got such a huge laugh. Just him just stopping and doing that. Wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary, but just having the confidence to take your time, do normal things, or do things that feel more grounded, and find the humor in those relationships. That's great. I always feel like whatever I do that veers off into a path that might be a bit too strange, you'll help bring me back into something that can connect with an audience and serve a longer narrative. So basically, they're the absolute best. I love them all.
Excellent summation of absolute best. I'm wondering I have two more questions, or actually three, because I just thought of another one. But one of them is, what piece of improv advice that you've received that made a big impact on you while you were playing?
I'll jump in because Jen mentioned that I'm good at slowing down, and I think that is the one piece of advice that I've taken and run with and made my own completely. My own brand of improv is just slowing down. Even recently, I'm doing workshops with people, kind of still trying to learn. People in situations are kind of saying slow down. I'm like, oh yes, like in every single area of my improv, just slowing down, just the kind of even a bit more will just improve. Especially object work, because I always think I'm terrible at object work, and I would get people to just say slow down. It's like, oh, why didn't I remember that? Because that's my thing. But slowing down really.
I mean, you managed to darn a sock, so that's.
Yeah.
So, I think it was that we did a course at the British Improv Project with John Trevor, and he was focusing on characters being nice to each other at the start of scenes. And I think that's helped us because it makes you, I mean, giving away the secrets of his tutoring here, but basically just, it gets the audience invested in the characters and gets you invested in the characters. It's not just two people arguing that you don't know anything about, and you can then heighten later on to get the problem. So I think it's that idea of starting with people being nice, and we need more of that.
Yeah.
In the world in general. Just start by being nice, and if you can keep it nice, even better.
Well, James, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think, one of the things I picked up from Onions and from Anthony, that focus on having positive relationships in scenes. It's like it's really easy, especially when you're first improv, to I just argue with everyone, and to an extent it can be funny, but you quickly run out of road. Basically, so when you reframe that and try and focus on positive relationships and being good to people, you find that there's a bit more to there's a bit more room to explore a relationship. Just another thing, because I know just a bit more unique to myself. I remember Anthony once saying this before a rehearsal once, a few years ago now, and to be honest, I don't apply it all the time, and I should. But it was just kind of more around what is my character feeling? How am I showing this? And almost just taking that beat to think that before throwing out a reaction. And I just remember you kind of mentioned that to us before. It was just a rehearsal, and myself and it was Murray at the time. We had a really fun scene to be part of. So I think that was quite a nice little bit of advice that I received.
And for me, it's similar to I think it comes from slowing down a bit as well, or it goes hand in hand with that. But it's letting the relationships drive the story rather than the other way around. I think I naturally have a tendency to want to just throw in loads of narrative and just talk away, talk, because that's a bit what I'm like as a person. But over the years, I've got better at that, not adding further things in and just actually following what my relationship with the other people in that scene would lead to naturally. I think it's happened earlier on, I think a few times in rehearsals, and I'll see us get quite, we'll maybe done a series of scenes, and then we're near the end, and then I throw in Elton John and a space shuttle, and I'll sort of get a little look from Anthony oh, did you want to do that? It's never a judgmental look, but it's okay. Oh, that's an interesting choice. So I try and keep that in my head. If I start to add other things in, then just think, no, I'm just how are these people relating to each other? And then the action that happens is kind of just a result of that. So, but if you slow it down, that becomes a lot easier.
Well, you're taking the same advice from Anthony of this. Let's slow it down, but then also work it in. Have any of you four been to LiF before? No.
As an audience member, the past couple.
As an audience member, that's what I was asking. So, if you have been there before as an audience member, I'm curious. What from the past has made you excited to come back this year, or what are you most excited about for coming to LiF as a performer?
Well, for me, it's performing at the Unity. I went to the Unity about 20 odd years ago as a student, and so it's kind of it's been a theatre that I've kind of gone to. I've been going to for a while, so just generally performing at the Unity is going to be very exciting because it is a really nice space, and it's probably the biggest show that we've ever done. So that, yeah, there's been lots of amazing stuff. I'm looking forward to the show After Hours, which I believe is Grice's after us. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, because the people involved are amazing. Yeah, I think for me those are the two things.
Yeah, I've been before, and I was actually going to say I was really looking forward to performing it. I just keep copying what Anthony said, but I wasn't at university there or anything, but I just loved the space. I loved the atmosphere. It felt really inclusive throughout the whole approach. The whole festival felt really inclusive, and just really exciting to be around a bunch of people who are total improv nerds and a bunch of people who've maybe never heard of improv before and are seeing it for the first time. And I think that's what I really like about a festival as well, because you will get some new people that perhaps aren't aware of that. And I can't for the life of me remember the names of the shows that I saw because my memory is terrible, but I know that they were all brilliant. And I think that there's some sort of like special fairy dust over a festival show that gets sprinkled, and I'm really excited to see what comes this time round. I've got my full pass for Saturday and I'm going to be locked in watching everything.
Brilliant. Okay. I know I got to let you go in just a minute, but really rapid fire, I want to get each of your desert island discs, and that's the last question.
Oh man.
I always sing Virginia Plain at karaoke, so I'm going to stick to that. Virginia Plain by Roxy Music.
Okay.
I just love Nirvana, so Smells Like Teen Spirit. Why not?
For me, probably changes by the week, but I'm listening to a lot of Frank Ocean at the moment, so Frank Ocean and Blonde.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Talking Heads, This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you guys all so much for coming on the podcast. I can't wait to see your show. You can watch Improv Island Discs Thursday, the 7th of May, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. at the Unity Theater. Well done. Is there anywhere that people can find you online or Instagram if they want more details about the show?
Yeah, we've got Instagram and Facebook, Absolute Onions. And we also have TikTok as well, don't we? Absolute Onions as well.
Okay.
Oh,
so go check out the short form content as well on the internet. Thank you all so much for coming on. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks very much. Thank you.